I don't know. Gravity waves, maybe.
To me as well.
Yeah. But we'll soon find out because for me, you go through voice meter even though my microphone doesn't. We should be back streaming again. No, I don't want to edit the stream. I want to watch the stream that's live now. Come on. No, it's not made for kids. Monetization on.
Yeah, that's fine. No.
Oh, there we go. Hello. Is everybody saying it's fine now? Yes.
Yeah, it's fine. I can hear it fine now.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Hot Poll podcast. Everybody pretend that the start didn't happen. Tech issues. It wasn't an April Fool's joke, but you would think it was. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hope you're all doing well. Let's roll the intro. There we go, and all is well. Tech issues are wonderful, aren't they?
Do you know what it was?
What?
I know what the problem was now.
What?
You need at least 100% likes on everyone that initially starts your stream, and we didn't have it. So it wasn't our fault, it was chat's fault. So I think if everyone is watching now, there's not loads of people at the moment. All of you just like the video and then we won't have any more audio issues again. And
That's
don't forget next time, as soon as you log in, you've got to press the like button. Otherwise audio breaks.
Yep.
It's just the way it is.
That's exactly it.
Just the way it is.
So yes, thank you everybody. That's a wonderful way to top off a heck of a 2 weeks, because it's been 2 weeks since we've seen you all. Apologies for last week. It was a very last minute thing. But I've been doing so much work with Riff Hard. We were tracking a new Monuments song last weekend, which is very exciting. So yeah, that meant that their live stream got pushed back to Thursday, and it's only when I got there on Thursday that I went, crap, it's Thursday. So everything suddenly went out the window and it was like, no. But yes, that happened. And also, the last podcast, I was talking about this ridiculous Celestian video, which finally, the first version got rendered. It took 42 hours. Oh my giddy aunt, that took a long, long time. And finally pushed me over the edge, and now I am building a new computer for editing. So that's happening, and this arrived today. Check this out. Very, very, very posh. I've joined the Quadro Club. Ooh. Yeah, shiny, shiny. It's a generation old. It's a Quadro P4000. So it's essentially kind of a GTX 1070, but with some posh features on it, like nerd stuff. But basically, it's supposed to not crash things like Premiere, which Premiere can be fickle at the best of times.
They're the ones that don't have video outputs on them.
No, a Quadro. It's got four. That's a Tesla has four. Sorry, a Tesla has no outputs on it. Quadros are just. They're kind of just expensive versions of GeForces, or at least they would be on a normal day. But that Quadro P4000 cost me about 60% of what they retail at, which compared to what you'd be paying for a GTX 1070 on eBay right now is actually a bargain.
What is it? A Quadro what?
P4000. So yeah, it's roughly on par with a GTX 1070, but for what I need it for, it does some nice fancy things. Which, yeah.
Where did you get it from? Do you get it from a friend or
eBay?
Yeah.
And yes,
I'll tell you why you can get it for a decent price. It's
why?
because it doesn't mine Ethereum very fast.
Yes, that's why.
Any graphics card that mines Ethereum, you won't be able to get.
Absolutely. I
If
mean,
you don't, so yeah.
yeah, but what it does do is it does working in Premiere like, poopy off a proverbial shovel.
Yeah, which one?
Exactly. It does.
How much was it?
$450 I paid for it.
Yeah. So the equivalent for $450, the equivalent card you'd get would give you double the Ethereum hash rate, which is why you can get it for that.
Yeah. But yeah,
Cool.
the main reason that I got it is there's a chip on these that can decode video. And on the GeForce, the normal kind of gamery ones, it can do 3 video streams at once, including the one that you're exporting to, and that's it, that's your lot. Which for this Celestian video, I've actually got 7 video streams in a stack, including the export. So that's part of the reason why it took 42 hours to export, whereas the Quadro ones, there's no limit. It can do literally as many video streams as the processing on it can handle. And there's no artificial driver limit, so it will just fly. And also, hopefully it won't crash, because when I exported it on my laptop, which is still a solid machine, it crashed twice, both overnight, so I actually took 4 days to render one video.
Wow.
Yeah, if I can shave that down from 4 days to like 1 day, that's quite a different turnaround time, you know. But yeah, the rest of the computer is underneath my desk. I've ordered some more bits. I've got myself a little new fancy 5-port switch so I can connect 2 computers together. Because what I'm going to do going forward is do the live mix streams off that new computer, but send the sound and video over to the laptop that will just stream then. So that won't be trying to mix a track at the same time as streaming. It will just have an easy life, kind of like a comfortable retirement. And still be pretty powerful if I need it. But so, to keep my desk tidy, I got one of these, which is a USB kind of KVM switch. So I can have my keyboard and mouse connected to both computers. What? You got one?
So I have mine taped under my desk.
Ah.
Yeah, I have it taped under my desk. Which is kind of a nice place to do it, because then you can just reach under your desk, press the button, and switch across.
That's nice. Is it a full KVM or is it just keyboard and mouse? Because that's what mine is. Mine doesn't do the screens.
What did I get? I only use the keyboard and mouse on it. I think I just got the keyboard and mouse one.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just keyboard and mouse.
Yeah, so that's what
And
I've
weirdly,
done.
What was really weird, it wouldn't work when I first got it because my keyboard needs 2 USB slots.
What?
And I've got a Logitech 502.
Right.
And both of them were kind of, I think, driving too much power out of it or something. It was weird. They would both work, but the side buttons on the mouse wouldn't go through to the other computer. No matter what I did, and I checked all drivers and stuff, it was really strange.
That is really strange.
I gave up on it, and then after a while, it started working again. So I don't know what happened.
Bizarre.
Yeah.
But yes,
strange.
I'm hoping this will. I'm hoping what I've done will make the mix streams more efficient, because we're definitely finding we're halfway through this epic prog metal album that I've been mixing, and some of the mixes there we had like 20 vocal layers and things like that, and we were getting to the point where starting and stopping the audio was audibly causing problems. Because even this powerful laptop was hitting 70-80% CPU usage on some of these really complex tracks. I tested one out on the other machine yesterday, just using an old graphics card that I had, and it was running at 8% of the CPU rather than 80. It was just like, don't care, which is incredible. That makes life so much easier. Because it actually... Go on.
I'm not going to say one little thing that I find useful with KVMs is to set one computer to have your connect and disconnect sounds in Windows.
Yeah.
Have one sort of because the connect and disconnect sounds different. Don't have them both on both computers,
Yeah.
otherwise it's a pain in the ass. Like set one to be on for connected and one for disconnected, so that you just get one beep when you move it across.
That's clever.
Because I found that at the beginning, the thing that was annoying me was just like all the time it's like fuck off. I mean, off.
I don't use Windows sounds in general now because I've found that, especially kind of mixing volumes where the track is significantly quieter, I'll crank the headphones up, and then when a Windows sound happens, I jump out of my chair and leave a brown stain. So
yeah, if you've got them all off, then yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
because it's really annoying with a KVN.
Yeah, and also sometimes Windows is trying to run at a different sample rate to some of the programs I'm using. So if I do something wrong, the Windows sound tries to happen. It causes horrible problems. So the best solution is just don't. Just no. Aceman says, if you're looking for a software KVM-style solution, check out Barrier to share keyboard and mouse between boxes. I've tried it. I've tried Synergy. They work when they want to, and when they don't want to, it's a huge pain. I have a Synergy license. I've stopped using it because it fails too often. So I went for a hardware solution.
I have a Synergy license, and I stopped using it as well.
Yeah, there you go. The idea is wonderful. The application is shaky sometimes, and great other times.
I find, what's the iOS one called? That one works quite well. But what's it called? It's made by people that used to work for Apple.
Snapple?
The name of it now.
I don't know.
No, I do find that one's good for if you want to have your iPad, and it does work for computers as well. But again, I just find that even though that works kind of 99% of the time, because when it's software based, sometimes you have to wait for the software to load, or you say it has the possibility that it can crash.
Yeah.
If your computer's under high load, it could have an issue. Whereas, yeah, when you're using a hardware one like that, it's just instant. Doesn't matter what one computer's doing or the other one's doing. You just press the button and it switches.
Yeah, that's it. I just needed something where it is a hardware thing, so it can't break. It goes, that computer click, that computer click. And if it doesn't, if it does break, I set it on fire, I send it back. You know. So, yeah, there you go. Now, yeah, the news has been interesting this week. I managed to scramble some together just before I got online today, because I've been working out stuff at Monument's headquarters today. So that's kept me very busy. There's been a lot of April Fool stuff happen today because it's April 1st, and that's been really, really funny. Some of it's been funny, some of it's been a bit meh. But I'll see if I can get some photos up of some of the more amusing ones. But one of the ones I'll give the game away now was a plugin that made your tracks sound like they'd gone through some sort of vintage DI box. DI box emulator.
Right. Nice.
So yeah, there's some some decent senses of humour out there. Like where one that came up was the guys at Anderton's made a short video where they had blown up a Klon pedal, which if you've seen the thing, they're going for $6,000 or $7,000 at the moment. So yeah, they plugged one in and it set on fire. And then they squirted a fire extinguisher all over it and killed it. And I think it was a copy. But if you were not, if you weren't in on that joke, you'd be watching it going, no. You'll look at the calendar and go, yes. Let's just see if I can find find where some of these come on, without showing all of my personal details on stream. I'm just trying to see if I can get some of these posts up on Facebook. There's one. Hopefully no one starts sending me sensitive information in the middle of that. But let's start with this particular one and then go on to the news. The news! And the news has disappeared because we closed OBS and opened it up again. There we go. So, yeah, this is a post by Bare Knuckle Pickups introducing Derelict, which is their new humbucker, which, if you look closely, all the pole pieces have been removed. Ways to create a minimalist pickup which conveys a bleakness which transcends tone.
Is this real or this isn't real?
Absolutely not. They've removed the pole pieces and removed all the copper windings, which, if you know anything about pickups, they're the bits that do the thing. It's now just a piece of plastic.
Of course.
Yeah. So that one amused me greatly. Pro Tools Expert did that DI box thing, and Toman said they've now got a vending machine that just dispenses pedals. Pedals you go. So yeah, there was that. But yeah, I'm sure there's other stuff out there. So let's move on to the non-April Fool's stuff. Because as amusing as that is, we do talk about actual news. What can I smell?
How will you know it's real, though?
Oh, that's the question, isn't it? I think this Quadro smells of some... Yeah, this Quadro has a funny smell, so the room's starting to smell funny. Weird. You ever get that when you buy stuff on eBay and it comes in, it's got a weird smell, and you're like, this has a history?
Yeah.
Yeah, weird.
It's weird. I was looking at houses earlier, and looking at the photos, I could smell the house based on the furniture.
Yeah.
A similar thing where it was like, I know what this house smells like.
That particular must that smells like dogs and cigarettes. Yeah. It's like, oh, dude.
Well, no, it wasn't actually a horrible house. It was just, I don't know, they're just from something about history. I like tell from the age of the furniture and the type of carpets. It was like, I know, slightly musky, but it's like, I know what this house smells like.
Like going into a pub of a certain age and you know how that's going to smell. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you walk into an old pub from that was built in the 1900s and it still smells faintly of smoke despite the fact that a smoking ban came in nearly 20 years ago. Yeah. So, on to the news. Origin Effects, who make wonderful compressors, and now they make these drive, the Revival drive. So this is the RD Compact Hot Rod. So apparently it sounds like, basically it sounds like a Marshall Plexi if you got lots of money for a little pedal. And so, yeah, I mean, they make really, really good things that sound like that. The original Revival drive sounded a bit like kind of a small Fender amp, which is weird because it could sound like a small Fender amp absolutely going full whack, but you could put it through any amp at a reasonable volume and it still sounded like a little Fender just absolutely, screaming. Bizarre. And so now the Hot Rod apparently is more like Marshall Plexi style stuff, and yeah, the original Revival drive had a million controls and was really overwhelming, and the RD Compact is a bit less so. So yeah, I mean, their marketing is very obvious that it's been put in front of a Marshall Plexi, which, if you see the Marshall behind me, that's not a Marshall Plexi, that's the model after. That's a JMP. The Marshall Plexi was the one that didn't really do drive tones unless the volume was on 1,000,000. And if the volume was on 1,000,000, stand back and be prepared to die. Because, of course, Marshalls from that era were designed as almost like glorified PA systems. Because you didn't put your guitar through the PA system in the 60s. You just didn't, because the PA system would go bang. So instead, you just had an amp that was so loud it could literally be heard at the back. And so, yeah, that particular sound, when you wound these all the way up, it sounds really good. Yeah. So, yeah, apparently, yeah. Think 80s amped up gain for hard rock and metal. Interesting, many players then used modded 70s amps to get there. That's a modded 70s Marshall. Hey! I still feel incredibly lucky that I found that thing before it actually went in the trash.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, these don't come cheap. £320 or $390 for one of these pedals. They are, yes, not cheap. But they do a certain sound where if you want that sound and you don't want to run a 100-watt valve amp at absolute full blast, oh my god, we are going to die kind of loud, then you get one of these. Like, there's an episode of That Pedal Show, of course, Dan and Mick, a lot of our viewers will know them, where they got an old Marshall Plexi and turned it all the way up. And the two things they said were it sounds ungodly, and secondly, they would never do it again. Because it's that loud that you feel it in your bones. It's kind of like the guitar equivalent of a roller coaster. Renanda says the next pedal on his list to get is the Clurton Grindstein. The Grindstein is a little different to this. But I tell you what, I do have that just came in. Actually, I don't think I've shown on the channel yet. That sounds a lot like a Grindstein. I have a box. This is what sounds like a Grindstein. This is the Jupiter Effects Death Saw. And the Death Saw is basically a Boss heavy metal pedal with every control turned up to maximum, and then there's no controls on the front because that's the sound. So if you want metal, I have that. I also have the Jive, which is a really nice boost pedal. I also have the Add Violence, which does exactly what it says. I also have the Kaleidoscope, which is the most ridiculous reverb pedal you've ever heard. And the Fernweh. Oh, this is heavy, this one. The Fernweh is the ridiculous delay pedal that me and John Brown did a video on while I was at 42 Gear Street. So Chris Jupiter has sent me these pedals to make a video on and have fun with, and lots and lots of brutal metals shall be had. So yes, all the pedal. But yeah, pedal expensive. Yes. Let's move on. This I thought was really cool. Pocket Beatbox. The coolest portable multi-sampler on the planet. So yeah, you see the size of it. It's probably, half the width of a normal modern day phone, a little deeper. And yeah, if you're the kind of person who can tappy tap 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 your hands, tappy tap 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 your hands, tappy tap 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 your hands, then this is probably something for you. It's got 4 pressure sensitive pads, 3 momentary buttons, and a rotary encoder. So you can have 16 multi-sample banks of samples. 4,000 samples per kit. So it's all multi-layered samples, so the harder you hit it, it can sound different. It all lives on an SD card. There's an internal sound engine. Sounds like an 808. Very cool. So it's a tiny little thing, and you click some buttons, and you make tappy-tappy noises.
Kind of cool.
So apparently you can... not sure if I'll buy one. You can reserve one for €10. They say it shouldn't cost more than €555 plus shipping.
It shouldn't.
Yeah, I'll pass.
It may.
Yeah, but it may. At that kind of price, and they're looking at that being done in a year, I will pass. They say that the supply of the chips that they need has run dry. I wonder if the chips they need have been sat on a boat in the Suez Canal. Because
possibly
that's all happened in the last couple of weeks. I don't know if we even mentioned it on the previous podcast, but the Suez Canal was stuck and now is unstuck.
Yeah, it wasn't. It was last Tuesday that it started. So on the last podcast, it hadn't happened yet.
No, so yeah, the entire 10% of the world's supply of stuff got held up by a week. That's always a tricky thing. But it's fascinating to me how the entire of our economy is quite often just on a single failure point. And until things go wrong, nobody notices.
It wasn't quite the entire of the economy, but it was a big... It was, a
no,
big...
but sorry,
big
just to clarify that, I think it's worrying that probably almost the entirety of our economy is on single failure points, multiple, not necessarily this one, just like, 10% of the world's economy apparently goes through the Suez Canal. I read somewhere. There's another 90%, sure, but what about where each one of those things goes?
So you may have heard some numbers, or may not, around sort of money printing for like separate countries and stuff.
Yeah.
But how much, as a percentage of the money that exists today? So think of all the money that's in the world in every currency today.
Yeah.
How much do you think you could print? It is printed in a year. How much more? How much do you reckon it goes up in a year?
How much more?
Yeah, so how much money in total do you reckon is printed? Like 1%? Like, does it decline a bit? Like, what would you think?
I'm going to shoot for the moon and say 130%.
All right, well, you're just an idiot then.
I honestly don't know. When you say how much is printed, I'm wondering if some of it gets destroyed. I don't know. Go on.
No, like how much more money is made?
Oh, right.
How much new money?
I'm going to guess at 25%.
So last year, that's exactly how much was printed.
Oh, wow.
The amount of money that we have in the economy, in the world, is 25% of it was printed last year alone. That's how much more money there is in the world than there was in 2019.
Yeah.
It's insane.
The word unsustainable comes to mind.
Oh, there's a load of like things that aren't for this podcast that will come into effect. But theoretically, we're in school. It would mean that should mean inflation. More money equals hyperinflation. I don't actually think we're going to see it, which is crazy.
No.
But like, we live in a very bizarre world. And the thing really interestingly is, which is relevant, is microchips. Like, car industry at the moment is completely on its face because they can't get computer chips.
Yeah.
Like, there's certain chips at the moment, semiconductors and stuff, that a lot of them were on those ships as well because there's been a massive shortage of them. Like, tech and, again, like graphics cards, like, still can't get hold of them.
Yeah.
That card that you paid 400 quid for last year, like, you would have still paid at least 20-30% less than that. Possibly, just at the moment, like, they're impossible to get hold of, and it's not going to go away anytime soon. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah,
that's what I'm interested to see, whether all these companies that are doing like this box, is it really going to be out in a year? Because if they planned that any time in the last 18 months, they'll have factored in sort of normal sort of delivery of kind of components. But I bet they're going to struggle to get some of the stuff they need for that.
Yeah. Absolutely mad. But yeah, that's the way it is going, is that, you've got to plan so far ahead now, it's dizzying. And that's why software is on the rise, because, software you can just do.
Time to get gold and bury it in the ground.
I don't know if it'd be worth any more.
Yeah, gold's overrated in my opinion. It doesn't really go up in value. Like, if you look at, again, this isn't a financial news podcast, but if you look at the crash that happened in March last year because of the incident around the world, gold sank in value as well. It didn't go up. Like, it didn't hold its value. Like, people say, "Oh, put your money in gold, it protects you." No, it didn't. So
nope. Because gold is tied to everything else.
Crypto is the answer.
Crypto. Yes. So, moving on from this to something that is a little closer to us. So this is the FOOOO P47SS. Do you remember at NAMM last year we met Mr. FOOOO and his lovely wife?
Yeah.
Yes.
Was that? I know which one. Yes, I do. I do remember. Right at the back of the bar hall, small stand.
That's right. Yeah. So we met. What was his first name? Is it Jim Peluso or Michael Peluso? My brain is.
Only had one guy doing the marketing, didn't they? They brought the marketing guy over, and it was just like one guy.
Yeah.
It's like just three of them. Yeah.
That's it. Then they're not much bigger than a family-run unit. Peluso have a very good reputation for what is essentially one guy and his lovely wife. And then now a marketing guy as well. But yeah, the Neumann U47 is not a cheap microphone. And as much as people say they love the Valve sound in it, it's debatable how much of the sound is actually the valve and how much is just the design of the thing. So John Peluso, there we go, John Peluso has made a new design that is a solid state version of a U47, but not, crucially, what's called the U47 FET, which is a different microphone entirely. That's where it's going to get confusing, because the 47 FET is a very popular microphone, either just on male rock vocals or generally used on kick drums. They're pretty hard to destroy. But yeah, so he's gone for this, which is going to sound more like the kind of the classic Beatles microphone and Sinatra microphone, the classic. But as you can see, where there used to be a big fat metal casing valve, that's not there. And so he's completely redesigned it, which also means it'll be much more, what's the word? Stable? Reliable. That's the word. It'll be much more reliable, I think. So yeah, it won't be like reinventing the wheel. Equivalent noise goes down from about 20 dBA to 9 dBA, which means it's quiet as a mouse because there's no valve hissing in the background. And yeah, so it's priced at $13.30 in terms of euros, which is not cheap, but these are pretty much all handmade by John Peluso. And there you go. The valve ones from Peluso cost, I think it was $1,600 for a regular version and $2,000 for the one with the 2,000 euros or $2,500 for the one that had the actual original vintage valve in, because they stopped. Telefunken made that old valve and they stopped production years and years and years ago. So if you can find one of them, you're looking at £600 for one valve, because they're just like gold dust. Nobody makes them. And so, yeah, take that out of the equation. Take the whole thing out and just have something that sounds right. Oh, on a related note, my microphone arrived. I now am the proud owner of an MXL Revelation 2, which is kind of similar to this, actually, with the valve in. Because MXL sent me one of those, and I've not even had time to try it out yet.
That'd be good to hear.
Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to throwing that out. So, yeah, my plan for the... I'll talk more about the plans for the YouTube channel at the end of the news, but I'm going to get this Celestine video out because it's almost done. And then the dam that has been building up of videos is just going to go... and everything will be released. Bang, 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 bang. So, yeah... each microphone is hand assembled in the US and ships with all the extra goodies like the nice shock mount and the case, and everything's done properly, which is part of the reason why it's quite expensive. Also, import, tax, all the rest. There you go. But yeah, looking forward to maybe trying one of those out, because I know that Vintage King in the UK are the dealers here, and never got round to it. But they wanted me to do a demo of a microphone for them last year after we met them at NAMM, so we'll chase that up and we'll see if we can get that on the channel for you. Now, from American to also American, I thought this was interesting. Jack White has a new limited edition pedal board that they call the Holy Board, and it's got holes in it, and it's a board. We've talked about Jack White's pedals before, because they've got like this crazy octave thing and the plasma pedal, which sounds like something, the big blue box on the wall that's trying to kill the flies in the middle of summer. It actually sounds like that. But yeah, it looks like something from a Meccano set. But in a way that strikes me as very utilitarian. Have you ever seen stuff like this as like camera cages? They call them cheese boards, or like Swiss cheese, where they do this a lot with casings for cameras, where it's got holes everywhere, so you can affix things exactly where you want. It's kind of like that. It's very customized. And I've been looking at stuff like this. I can't kind of justify it for myself because I don't go out and gig or tour or anything like that. But it's worth looking at, because like some of the more traditional boards. I've got a traditional board lying around. They're kind of wooden slats or whatever, metal slats. they're cool, but they're only so tough. You know, they're quite limited in the way that you have to mount things like pedals and gear in specific ways because there are these big holes in between the pieces of wood or whatever it is that it's made out of. Whereas this looks like you don't need Velcro here. You can actually like screw, and looks like they've zip tied some pedals down. I'm not sure if that's an aesthetic thing or if things are actually zip tied down, which is a bit of a weird way of doing it. Yeah, zip ties. Because I have seen zip ties used on boards before where it's possible, because the thicker zip ties can be quite solid, not going to leave marks, they're not sticky and adhesive. If a pedal blows up or goes wrong in between two shows, you can cut a couple of zip ties and just pull it out. Quite a clever way of doing it, really. But it looks like...
It looks cool.
Yeah. Apparently, you can buy different sizes, and because of the way it's made, you can bolt them together. So this yellow bit and this black bit, you can get them separately, and you can, screw them together like pieces of Meccano. So looking at it, if it's a kind of a modular system, you could probably make this, infinitely long. So you can have some real pedal nerds on stage who've got one of these that's like 20 feet long and just caked in pedals.
And break them up for transport as well.
Yes, actually, thinking about it.
So if you leave like one row at the end or whatever you need, then means that, you just need to unscrew, and you can probably do that in an efficient way as well. So you're not having to like full on screw something like because they need to be super tight, do they? So
no,
you can find some sort of quick release screw type thing.
Yeah. I suppose you could decide at what point your board breaks up and then have it just split in two and go in two cases or whatever it is, yeah.
Exactly.
Or you could be someone like the Edge from U2 and have 17 of these connected and then just hire more crew to have them all lift it is one thing. Apparently U2 on their last tour had 180-something full-size trucks.
That's ridiculous.
That is entirely ridiculous. And that is why you pay silly prices to see them, everybody. Because they bring silly amounts of equipment where, they could charge you half as much and bring a few screens, a couple of Axe effects, small drum kit. Bono's ego takes up a truck. And then you're done. So yeah, talking of saving money... Oh, no, I'm going to do them this way around. There we go. So, we've had Pedals the Musical a couple of weeks ago. Now we've got the Pedal movie. It's pedals, pedals, pedals everywhere. And yeah, there's a new trailer for the Pedal movie. And apparently it's coming out at the end of this month. And this is not an April Fool's joke. So Reverb, who are like the guitar competitor for eBay. And wow, haven't Reverb grown rapidly in the last few years? Where did that come from? Whoa. So yeah, that's coming out paid for and entirely kind of sponsored by them. So there you go. The Pedal movie. Yes.
Do you know anything about it?
Nope. It's a movie and it's about pedals. It's got interviews in from Nils Klein and Jay Mascis. I know that Jay Mascis is from Dinosaur Jr.
So it's not going to be like Cars where the pedals are all come to life and have to sort of save a concert.
No, I think this is much more of a documentary.
I'm out.
Yeah, I'll be watching it. But it'll be.
No, I was in when I thought it was pedals having to save a concert and protect their friend from, I don't know, the wah wah or something, the evil wah wah. But
yes.
No, I'm out.
The evil distortion pedal. If that was a thing, I would definitely sit my daughter in front of it on loop. That would be great. She loves Cars at the moment. She loves the Cars film, and yeah, oh boy, that's her thing at the moment. Who would have thought it?
Very good.
She lives in a house with a guitarist and an artist, and she wants to watch Cars. Kids, oh boy. But yeah, pedal companies like Way Huge, JHS, Walrus Audio, ZVEX, Chase Bliss are all in the film. So yeah, and apparently there are going to be limited runs of special edition pedals being released at the film's release as promotional material as well. So yeah, check out the trailer, check out the film in only 4 weeks' time. I certainly will. And there you go. I'll have to squeeze it in between rendering ridiculous videos and listening to audiobooks. That's my thing this week. I've just started listening to audiobooks. So I've started listening to the audio versions of The Expanse, which is really cool.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's something I can put on while I'm washing the dishes, you know. And finally, Behringer Corner! The BU100 USB boundary mic for chatting, streaming, and podcasting. Though I'm not sure how I would use a boundary mic for streaming or podcasting. But there you go. Pretty sure that Behringer did one of these anyway, which was kind of like... Oh no, it's a USB version. So they did this, which was, without the USB, their knockoff of the Shure 91, which is the boundary mic that Shure make, which is 99% of the time in musical applications stuck inside kick drums. But you can actually use them in corporate situations, although I believe they use less and less in corporate situations because there are now much smaller and more discreet microphones that can be used in that application. And of course, as a non-techie, most businesses probably don't want big pieces of tech on the desk if they can help it, unless it's Apple. So yeah, but this is USB now, which means that you'll be able to just plug this into a computer, choose it as a source, and go. Which, I mean, I'm not expecting anything amazing. It's 48K 16-bit maximum. 16-bit. And $49 US all in. And it's got a headphone output, which I'm expecting to be terrible. And that's your lot. Apparently, yeah, so it looks very similar to the Thomann GZ1 USB microphone, which, as far as I'm aware, Thomann are now one of the biggest official, super partners for Behringer. So even though they don't own each other, they kind of may as well, because one's the distributor and one's the retail, one's a distributor, retailer, and the other one is the manufacturer. So it's kind of a closed system there. Especially in Europe, you're not going to get cheaper. And yeah, I wouldn't mind betting they're made in the same factory. So there you go.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be an advantageous business move. So yeah, there you go. $49 US if you don't already have a streaming microphone a year into this stay-at-home thing. Then yeah, might be really useful. Although expect lots of reverb if you use one of these, because it's probably going to be on your desk pointing generally upwards at you and past you. But you can get other solutions that are more like this.
I kind of feel like they're probably going for that market where people are going to need more of these sort of facilities in offices and in schools and everywhere. So it's like, oh, this is something that's cheap, easy, like could maybe sell a lot of units and end up on a lot of desks. You could see you could see a school just buying a batch of 100 of them, couldn't you, at that price to put in different rooms and stuff.
Yeah. And then they all break within 5 minutes, and then everyone gets upset that they have to buy another one because Behringer. Hey. And didn't. And that was the news. There we go. Yes, it's been an absolutely nuts week for me. But of course, there's only
one little bit of news. Cool, actually.
Go on.
It's computer related.
Ooh.
You see, Microsoft won a contract with the US military to implement the HoloLens into soldiers' helmets.
That's really cool, and I did not see that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. So went up for them, and Microvision, who made the chips for them, as a result of it. So then there was pictures of like soldiers with like HoloLens helmets with like 6 different cameras on. So you'll be able to use like augmented reality in the battlefield.
That's kind of cool. 10-4, soldier.
So like tech fighters.
Yeah.
I know. You imagine like you could have like, instead of like making call outs, you could literally probably use your hands to make signals so that it would show up in the peripheral vision of the other people. Like, because obviously HoloLens you can interact with it, can't you, with like the gloves or whatever?
Yeah.
So you can literally put markers on the ground. Like I know, like in like FPS games where you like put a marker, say an enemy in that direction, you could literally probably do that for other people. So you can mark out around you where you're expecting the enemy to be, where you spotted things.
So you point at something for the navigation marker, and for some reason it puts it 200 yards further back, and then you get really annoyed at it, and then it blue screens.
Yeah.
And the enemy's just like, I hear whispering. I see a blue glow. It's them. It's the Americans. And then as they storm the door in,
and then on top of it, just a 3-part red ring just appears on the helmet, and then you know that it's broken for good.
yeah. Or either that, or you storm a building, take everyone out, and at the end it does the old Windows shutdown sound.
Then they know where you are because it's crashed and it's going.
Yeah. Oh dear.
Reloads. Windows updates right at the wrong moment.
Oh yeah, for the entire team as well, because there's no way to stop it. Oh boy.
Would you like to schedule the update? No.
Clippy. Who remembers Clippy, the digital assistant from Office? Wasn't that awful? I see you're trying to write a letter. How can I screw this up? Thanks.
Ash was talking about Clippy the other day. She was saying how she misses Clippy.
I always changed it to the dog or to Shakespeare. Because, there was an option to have Shakespeare patronising you, and I felt a little bit less annoyed by that. Because if Shakespeare's patronising you, at least he's earned it. But yeah, I think they called him Will, so it wasn't like copyrighted. Yes. And any questions from everybody in the chat? Now is a good time. Yeah, for the last 2 weeks it's been crazy. I sent the Celestian video that I've been talking about out to the patrons last night, and so some of the guys, the regulars in chat, have been watching some of that. In fact, 2 of them at the least that I know of have watched the entire thing, which is insane, and I thank you both. So yeah, there's a lot to be done to add to it, but hopefully, especially with this new graphics card, which it's quite powerful, so it needs to be said with a rolling R. It's not a graphics card, it's a graphics card. That should churn its way out quite quickly. I showed all the guests who were in it, and apart from Jack Gardner saying, yeah, can we call my genre fusion, which I said yes, of course, everything else was fine, I think. Few little rendering errors in there, which is why I did a version 1, of course, so that you can look through it and check it all outside of your program. But yeah, it took 42 hours to render. It took another 2 hours to make a version I could upload, and then it took YouTube a full day to make an HD version because it was 6 hours long. Yeah.
Wow.
Crackers. And I had to do some research on YouTube's upload size limit, because the final version of this, when I upload, is probably gonna be around 128 gigabytes, which is the limit. Yes, Marty says
Probably gonna want to come here to do that then.
What?
You're probably gonna want to come here to upload that then.
Maybe. I could actually upload that from here in about 8 hours now, because I pay Virgin far too much money. But it would be significantly faster from the studio. That is absolutely that is very true. Instead of 8 hours, I'd probably get it done in 1, which would be very impressive. But yeah, it doesn't make much difference either way, because while it's uploading, I'll be starting to transcribe the subtitles. There's about 2.5 hours of talking in there from me. So that's plenty of transcription for me to be getting on with. I'm going to have sore wrists by the end of that.
For YouTube?
Yeah.
I don't know how you could do it. So I have captions turned on for this even right now.
Yeah, I mean it will have automatic captions, but automatic captions are okay when they're okay. But for such a technical video, and you probably want it done properly. And I found that if you have proper subtitles, you get a boost in ye olde algorithm.
Oh yeah.
And
I was just thinking that, like, the latest update on Chrome that has the accessibility feature for it, I've started having those on all the time.
all right,
And it's pretty amazing, to be honest. So like it's just in Chrome. So now anything that has audio in Chrome, like, it automatically pops up subtitles for it,
huh?
like in its own little float window.
That's
Go
kind of
to,
cool.
Settings. It's in. I actually moved back away from Edge because of it.
Huh?
Settings, advanced, accessibility, and now there's a button that says live captions.
Right.
It just turns on a floating window for everything. Because I was annoyed because when I'm working, I watch a lot of streaming, and like I wanted to have the streaming on, and they obviously didn't have caption software.
Yeah.
So I was like, there's got to be a way to do this. So I procrastinated for an hour and found it.
Huh. And it does it automatically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, fascinating.
Yep. And it's ridiculously accurate as well. Like, looking back from what we've just said recently, like, all the words are perfect. Oh no, okay. I'd say that, and then that bit it says, and it doesn't automatically, as opposed to it.
Yeah,
Fail.
slight kind of keyword there that you misinterpreted. Good job.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm probably gonna. YouTube has its own inbuilt transcription like back end, so you can type, and then when you stop typing, it plays. And yeah, I'm not the best typist in the world. I'm a little bit rusty, but I did learn to touch type when I was a kid, so yeah, I can kind of do that. Although it's a lot of talking to get through. But then there's like a 3-hour section that is no words at all, so that works.
Yeah. The other thing that might be useful for that is Otter AI. You can import audio into that, and then it will convert it for you into a Google Doc. So that would be another way of doing it: is put it into Otter, get it, and there's a free, like, I think the free version would probably do for you. Put it into Otter, put the audio file in, transcribe it, then put that into YouTube, and then watch it back and just edit the audio, as opposed to having to type all of it.
Yeah, but I have. Okay. Yeah, I've found because I've tried it where I would wait for YouTube to make the auto-generated captions and then try and correct them, and it would take longer to try and click type and correct it than it would to just type the thing out.
Fair enough. Yeah, I get you. You've got to put them in the right places.
Yeah, and because a lot of it's very technical language that I'm using. A lot of the time talking about things like specific speaker names or impedance or, technical jargon. Yeah, it doesn't get any of that. If I was just talking about something that was a very widely accepted, general non-techie topic, yeah, it works. It absolutely works. But when you start getting in the weeds, not so much. But yeah, Marty says he skipped a lot of the 3-hour stuff. Yes, I completely expect that. So the way that the video is kind of the first half hour is kind of the brief of what this is and pretty pictures and talking about the setup. Then it's loads of little stories about different pairs or triplets of speakers and how they came to be and yada, yada, yada. Then there's the Encyclopedia Britannica of speakers at the end, where it's just, here's every possible speaker in every possible playing style back to back. You're probably not going to watch this back to back because why would you? But it's here. So you can refer to it, whatever your style is that you like, whatever, you just reference it. That's why I did that, and that's fine with me. So, yeah, nobody sits and reads the Encyclopedia Britannica start to finish. That's not what it's there for, and I completely appreciate that. If my average view time is above like an hour, I will genuinely be shocked. I don't think that's going to happen, but yeah. Marty says I can sing all the songs. Yes, yes, so can I in my nightmares. Because there are six musical pieces in there. and I've heard them all many, 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 many times now. And at some point over the next few days, I have to sit down and watch that video start to finish. All 6 hours of it, because I need to look for errors and listen for errors. So, that's going to suck. Or at least I can skip little bits, but I can't skip big bits. You know, if there's a section where the video clip changes or whatever, I can't. Yeah. There's stuff like warp stabilizing on some of those. So I need to check that they all worked, because I noticed on the export, the tiny little thumbnail that you get in Premiere, there were a couple of little blue bars where it says, like, new frames need analyzing. It's like, Although oh
no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm beginning to wonder I might just strip out all the warp stabilizing, because none of it was actually needed. It was just me being almost OCD with it. Because it's me panning really smoothly across the speakers. And at a couple of points, it just kind of went, a little bit. Just the slightest, not even a big thing that you're just not going to notice. Yeah. Ace Man says, is it wrong that I want a beer at 3 p.m? If only the client wasn't coming still. Oh dear. The dilemma. I've got a couple of tiny little beers in the fridge. I might go and get one after this podcast. And sit and torture myself with the first 2 hours probably of the Celestian video. Hey. Also, I can actually put this graphics card in my new machine and make sure that all works properly, and take it for a spin with Premiere and see how well it behaves. That's going to be fun. And hopefully if it loads up this Celestian project in less than 5 minutes, I'll be very impressed. But yeah, that's with all the After Effects stuff that goes on in it, that's why I got 64 gigabytes of RAM. And yeah, it's probably going to use all of it within the first 2 minutes. That's going to be terrifying. But there you go. Then I've got so many more videos coming out after that. It's going to be insane. And all these projects that I keep saying, oh, I can't tell you about this, oh, I can't tell you about that. At least one of them should be out after next week. So that's something. That's another thing that I can tell you about that I've been waiting on forever. Because every project seems to take longer than it should at the moment. But there's going to be this avalanche and cascade and an avalcade, if you will, of content from me in the very near future. And I'm very excited to share it all with you. So without further ado, I must get my screwdrivers out and start working. Screwdrivers. And yeah, I'm going to get cracking on bringing more stuff to the people. So, yes, thank you everybody for watching.
Sounds awesome.
Yes. But yes, thank you everybody. Moustache. And I'll see you all.
Until next week.
Until next week. Thank you everybody. And I will see you on the podcast, 8 p.m. Thursday next week. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye. Hey everyone. That might be the end of the video, but if you fancy carrying on this conversation, we have a Discord server. Link is in the description. We're also on Patreon, which is something you can really help us with. We also are on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Hop Hole Studios. See you there.